What is going on, everybody? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Unique one this time. I'm not actually sure if it's going to work. We're going to do an underdog draft like normal. Then I think we're going to try and do a sleeper rookie draft because I'm currently in a slow draft for my rookie draft. I think I can have you guys join and we can simulate the rest of the picks that happen because we're like part of the way through round one, but it's a slow draft. So like, I don't even know if my next pick's going to happen or my first pick's even going to happen tonight. We started drafting last night. Someone took 16 hours to make their pick, but we're going to maybe do that at the end of it. But first we'll do a live underdog draft. I think we'll do one of the fast ones again, but I have to join on my phone because Underdog can never figure out where exactly I am drafting one. So I'll join that in 2 seconds. I'll tell you when you guys can join into it. It's going to be the fast puppy. So we're going to do a fast puppy, 20 seconds on the clock, $5 entry. Join it now. Join it right now, and I'll join into one in a few seconds because there's some sort of delay. And while we're doing this, fire away the questions. I'll answer those as we go. So enter in. All right. I just entered in, and there's 6 spots when I did it. So I feel like some of you can get into this one. So definitely join now if you guys have not already. And then I will go and do one of these. I'm on the clock in, I checked it the other day. I think it's 55. I'm on the clock in 55 slow drafts right now. Absolutely crazy. But I like the slow drafts. So what can I say? All right. And I shortened this part of the screen over here for you guys. It's the overlay, but let me know if you liked it a little bit more. I tried to like make the actual screen a little bit bigger. And then of course I'll pull up this as we do like the actual draft. So we'll get that ready. So we'll pull that up there and you guys can see all of that, but we'll keep it like this for the first pick. Questions so far. What are our thoughts on the 49ers receiving room situation? Ayuk trade rumors, Slick Rick injury. Well, we don't know the Ricky Pearsall injury right now. Seems minor, and whenever we have any sort of injury this early in the offseason, if essentially they're not going to tell us, we don't really know. I wouldn't be too concerned with that. I'm still drafting at the same spot I was before. If anything, today is like a net positive for Ricky Pearsall in general. Obviously, you'd like him to not be opening on the non-football injury list. I think my understanding is that just means he got hurt away from the team, which like obviously if he's hurt at the first day of camp, he had to have gotten hurt away from the team. But it could be anything, and they can activate him anytime, I think. So it could be like literally tomorrow. He could be off of it. We'll see. Honestly, I would draft everything the same. It does not mean that Ayuk is getting traded. Just because you ask for a trade does not mean you are getting traded. If he gets traded, who knows where he's going to go? It seems like the Commanders would be in play, but could he end up going to like the Chargers? Like we just really don't know. And because there's so many outcomes until we get like a really solid piece of news, you kind of have to just draft things the same way. Am I going to get Tyreek Hill at 6 is the real question here. Couple seconds away. I do like these fast drafts too because it does force people to make decisions really quickly, and sometimes they make bad decisions, and so we can capitalize on mistakes. Looks like this person's going to auto draft though. They're going to get Tyreek Hill, which means we'll get Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is a perfectly fine start to a draft. So we will begin with that, and we will pull up the clock thing or the draft board over here. But that's my take on it right now is like we just don't know with Ayuk, so keep drafting at the same spot. He's an unbelievable wide receiver. There is no situation you can go to where he'd be bad in fantasy, so keep drafting him. I think where he's going. Some situations worse, some better, so again, averages out there. Pearsall, don't worry about the injury. If anything, like maybe this is putting pressure on the 49ers and like accelerating a potential trade, which would be a net positive for him. But in general, I would say where I've had him ranked, which is around 10 to 15 spots ahead of ADP, that is still where, like, I'm not changing that. So I'd still draft him where I have him ranked. Thoughts on Addison after the DUI? That's also one we need more news on, like exactly what happened there. But my guess is this will cause a suspension. I changed the projections to estimate like a game and a half because, it's not going to be a long suspension, right? Like, it's not like he's going to go out there and about 4-game suspension for this. But could it end up being 3? Could it end up being just 1 game? Yes, I think 1 to 3 is my guess. Again, not knowing much about the situation, but I do think he's going to get suspended just because like it's the second thing. The first one wasn't bad. I mean, he was trying to get home to like a dog emergency. Like this, it wasn't like he was doing anything crazy, but this one is bad. Like this one's not great. So we'll see with that. Tough part is he probably wouldn't be suspended to start the year. These things take so much time that like there could be a situation where it's like week 14 or 15 is when they decide to come in with the suspension. So that kind of stinks. But yeah, my guess is a game and a half in the projections. I dropped him about a round just to kind of like adjust for that risk there. He kind of can't drop too much further though. I'll pull up wide receiver after I make my pick. I should probably do that first. But like where I have him ranked now, I'll show you guys on here. There's only so much further you can drop to where it's kind of ridiculous. Like even if you knew he's getting 3 or 4 games, you'd be like, well, he's still worth more than these other guys even going there because there's a drop off at wide receiver. Okay, maybe we just go after Ayuk. I don't know. I mean, I have him in the rankings. Again, like I said, really good wide receiver. There are teams that he could absolutely be traded for to where he's an absolute stud. Kind of hurts that you don't know the stacking partner if he's not going to stay there, but I'll take him. Again, I don't care where he goes. He's a stud wide receiver. Okay, so for Addison, this is where I have him right now. My rank is 76. He's going at 70. I've seen him drop. I took him at 83 today, so he's fallen a lot in some different leagues. But if we look back, it's like Keon Coleman. It's like, well, man, I don't know what Keon Coleman's going to do, but I don't know that he's going to have like an unbelievable season. He'll have some good games. I don't like feel super confident in him long term. Christian Watson, I mean, I don't know if he's going to end up having a large role. Is he going to stay healthy? Like it's probably just going to be kind of a even split and that target share there. Brian Thomas, how's he going to pan out? And so you kind of start going through these names. And it's like Jameson Williams, Curtis Samuel. It's like, how far down are we really going to drop Addison, even if we knew he was going to be out for like 3 weeks and we know it's not going to be like a 6 or 8 week suspension. So I dropped him behind ADP. My guess is he'll fall to pretty much where I have him projected at this point. But it's not like you just can't draft the kid at this point. Like if he's going to fall, if he goes to like pick 80, 85 in this draft, I'll take him if I want wide receiver at that point. I'm not like scared to take him. It would be nice if he stopped doing dumb things though. 79 of you in here, 155 have been in here at some point, 20 likes. Let's bump that up. Let's get this to like 30 likes. And 10 of you hit the like button. Okay. I'll pull the draft board up at the next time. We were just talking about something. Pick 30. I would love Metcalf. He'll probably get drafted. He didn't get drafted. All right. Metcalf's a good pick here. I mean, if you wanted to go, I don't know. There's other directions you could go here, but I think the obvious choice is we're not going running back, obviously. We're not going tight end quarterback. Yeah, I think Metcalf's just the obvious choice. 3 good wide receivers there. Metcalf going to benefit from potential uptick in so it's like two different outcomes here for Metcalf, right? You got JSN likely ascending, right? JSN's probably going to get more snaps, but they're probably just going to run more 3 wide receiver sets. So like him taking snaps or getting more snaps will not come at the expense of DK Metcalf snaps. Metcalf will be out there every play he can handle. It would take away target share. But if they throw the ball at a little bit higher rate this season, maybe the net effect there is kind of even. And getting him as, I mean, I don't know, what was this, around the 20th wide receiver off the board. Like Metcalf is like just a strong pick. We know he's going to have a good role. Quality pick. There's really nothing bad I can say. We are kind of at that drop off. I would say once you got this like Waddle, Devonta, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp. I would say like Metcalf starts to be in that downturn. Neighbors starts to be. DJ Moore starts to be. You get this like mini tier of kind of like Pittman, Diggs, Dell, little bit of a drop into like Flowers, Pickens, Higgins, and then everyone else here is like, you know, a pretty decent range behind them. So we kind of get Metcalf right before we hit that drop off. And 3 wide receivers, beautiful start on Underdog. Okay. Questions. What does your auction draft content look like on your site? What kind of details do you go into? We have a really big auction tool. I'll continue that after my pick. Really big auction tool, but also like the rankings themselves you could theoretically use because they have auction projections on there. I'll make this pick first. We have a video coming out on Thursday that breaks down Pacheco, Etienne, and Josh Jacobs. I don't want to spoil too much for the video, but I'm going to draft Isaiah Pacheco with this pick, as he is the one that I would draft among those three. Anyways, it's a really, really good tool. It helps you with like inflation and deflation in drafts, helps you with different strategies. You can walk in being like, okay, I have a strategy where I take 2 elite wide receivers, but then you're in your draft and you're like, that's not going to work because everyone's bidding $1 million on all these, stud. I don't know if I said running back, wide receiver, whatever one I said. If you want like a 2-stud running back build and you have like a system built out to kind of project players for that and to kind of have a team budgeted out for that, but then you realize you're not going to go with that build because everyone's bidding on it, you can swap over to another build. So it's a really, really good tool to help you through auction drafts. Something that, like, if you use that and everyone else in your league wasn't paying like hyper attention to auction, you are probably going to crush it. Okay. You would love to see a 14-team mock draft in the upcoming weeks to keep with the great content. So as I said, we will probably, I'm at least going to try to do the Dynasty rookie draft after this, like kind of go through and see how that's going to look with you guys. I guess next week we did a 10-teamer. Next week we'll do 14. So after the Underdog draft next week, I will do a 14-team draft on Sleeper with all of you here. I try and not do those in like the regular videos though. All right, we got St. Brown, we got Ayuk, we got Metcalf, we got Pacheco. We're feeling good. I would say Keenan Allen and Jacobs are my favorite too, but I love Ridley. I love Godwin. So there's a ton of fantastic picks in this range. I would say we kind of start to get to a drop off after that. I think, my gut says just go with Jacobs. My gut says Jacobs here. Go with Jacobs. Lock in Pacheco, Jacobs as like a unique, like potential 2 running back ones. Not guaranteed, but like we could have 2 running back ones with these picks. Try to wait a little bit, and maybe this is going to be a fairly unique. I could theoretically build out a 4 running back build that took 3 wide receivers to start. I feel like that would be really unique. Just because a lot of times when you see 4 running back builds, it's because someone started off like this team, like Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, then maybe attacks like 1 or 2 in the middle rounds and then stops. You don't see as often just rock solid wide receivers, but then also only having 4 running backs. If we can finish that off really nicely, we could either take 3 quarterbacks late, because I have potential, like I have Goff, I've got, we don't know for Ayuk, but I guess I could kind of be risky and try and get Jaden Daniels. I could try and go with someone I think Ayuk could get traded for, or we could just go with Purdy and assume that he stays. We could go with Geno late. So we have stacking options late where we could like triple dip on stacks a little bit later on at quarterback while having, enough ammunition at the wide receiver position, because that's really what you want to make sure you have is enough wide receiver talent in your team. 14 team. Super flex, where quarterbacks fly off the board, or 2 quarterback. I don't know which one. Probably 2 quarterback. Might be first pick. Okay. Which quarterback should you take at 101 who's a dark horse at the 2-3 turn? All right. We'll answer that one after our pick. But I would take Josh Allen as the first quarterback this season. Arguments for Hurts are like up pace and potentially throwing more. I still like Josh Allen, but I just think you're just so locked in with Josh Allen. There's the theoretical chance that we get a little bit less from Jalen Hurts in like the 15 rushing touchdowns because of tush push maybe being less effective this season. We don't know, but possibly just because losing, they're like all world center. But yeah, that's just a general take quickly, but I'll finish it off. I feel like Worthy, right? He's a top player by ADP and in my rankings. I don't know. I want wide receiver at this pick. The thing there said tweaks hammy. He was good to go in camp that opened up today. Camps are finally opening up. We're finally getting news from camps, which is exciting. But yeah, he should be fine. We're getting obviously significant weekly upside on yet another team. No stacking partner with it because obviously we didn't get Mahomes, but I like this build. This build's turning out really nicely. Quarterbacks at 2-3 turn. I mean, I don't have ADP up, but if I assume that they went fast, I guess maybe we'll assume this, like, I don't know, like Herbert on, let's just say, is in that general range. I would say Cousins, Rodgers, Geno. I'm just going to say quarterbacks that I think are sneaky in Superflex. You can do with that what you will. Yeah, I mean, Goff. But Goff, Cousins, Rodgers, Geno, Bo Nix, Levis, May. Daniel Jones, to a degree. I think Daniel Jones could be good in fantasy as well. Bryce Young, honestly, I wouldn't hate Bryce Young late if you think Dave Canales can like really elevate him the way he's elevated Baker and Geno. There's a lot, honestly, there's a lot of like quality quarterbacks later on. So I wouldn't feel like in a league like that you have to get, 3 top 15 quarterbacks. There's some solid ones a little bit later. Okay, with this pick, like I would obviously take Stroud, and I know I've missed out on his weapons, but I would just take like I do this so much, like just take Stroud when he falls, because he falls a lot, and just say, you know what, he spreads it around a lot. He's just going to be an awesome quarterback this season. I could take Kamara. I have a pretty low projection on Kamara. Oh, is this person, what's ADP? Yeah, this person's probably an auto draft Stroud. But yeah, Kamara. I mean, Kamara would be a strong pick. I don't love him, if we're being honest, but I think in... Oh, Kyler goes. Okay. In my opinion, the move here is take Stroud and then hope that we can get someone from this range as our third running back, and we'd still be fine at running back. Because I know we don't get the stack with Stroud, but I can grab Schultz. That can be fine. As our stack, because we also don't have a tight end yet. We're going to probably need to, at this point, we might need to triple dip at tight end, in which case Schultz is perfectly fine to get. Tight ends get their value through touchdowns, so there's extra correlation there. If Stroud is going to hit and the other guys aren't going to be hitting in that final week, it can be through Schultz. There'd be a lot of leverage off of all the other Stroud teams. But also just like, given the 3 that they have, if all 3 are healthy, we could have plenty of weeks where it's kind of like Mahomes going out there and throwing for 350 and 3 touchdowns. And you look at his pass catchers and you're like, wait a minute, no one had more than like 60 receiving yards. How's that even possible, right? Less to a degree, but it's more like, maybe it's, Nico has a good game, but doesn't necessarily mean you needed him at a second round ADP. Maybe Brandon Ayuk on my team just happens to have 100 in a score. And so even if Nico has 80 in a score, I was still fine not having Nico Collins. Had I known I was going to get Stroud at 78, would I have preferred to draft Nico here? Of course. But this is also the danger of auto drafting, which this person is doing. They auto drafted Kyler Murray when they obviously, having Nico, like, should have gone with CJ Stroud. So not the best auto drafting, if we're being honest, in Sleeper. You probably shouldn't do it. You made it at 3. Nice. You got the Lamar. Oh, you got the whole Baltimore stack. Nice. Henry, Lamar, Andrews, and you've got Jefferson, Waddle. I like it. I like this build a lot. I am likely going to take a running back that you wanted, though, at this next pick. At this pick, how many? We're 3 away. Yeah, I'd definitely take Zamir. Yeah, I would take any of these guys. Any of these 4. There's 4 running backs that are clearly in like a tier above, in my opinion. This guy should probably take a running back. If we don't get Zamir, we do get Zamir. Nice. It is a week 10 bye, which hurts our build here, but I think I have enough confidence in him. Let's just check everything else. Okay. Yeah, we're good. I have enough more confidence in him than I have in DeAndre Swift, because I still am a little scared DeAndre Swift is going to be in like a semi-committee. That I'm okay doing the week 10 builds or week 10 buys. It's a little risky in that we wanted to do a 4 running back build. Well, now in week 10, we would only have, assuming we go after a non-week 10 running back, we would only have 2 in that week, but I think that's fine. We'll just see where our 4th running back goes. But if we get a 4th running back in the next like 2 rounds, I will heavily consider only doing 4. I know people always view that as risky. My whole thing is you're trying to win. And so even if only having these 4 running backs like slightly lowers my advancement rate, I am trying to win in these final weeks. And when you look at teams that end up advancing on a week-to-week basis at that point, the highest projected teams are going to have fewer running backs because you're assuming they hit on those few running backs. And if you've got, 2 running back ones and a running back 2, you don't need those ancillary guys once we're in that final week. Is it harder to get there? Yes. But once you're there, it gives you a ton of equity. Well, that's what I'm really trying to capitalize on. So I like the team. I would say we're starting to fall behind at wide receiver, though. Like, we do need to go back to attacking that position. But this whole range here, like 78 through like 102, is very, very bad for wide receiver. Like, you get a huge drop-off. I'm good with Lockett. I'm good with Palmer. Like, I wouldn't take Brandon Cooks at this pick. So there just becomes a lot of wide receivers that you don't want. And so it is a good time to attack quarterback, attack running back, and then go back to wide receiver once we get, closer to this range. So I like this build. I will take Tyler Lockett this pick. We need to star Schultz. We will not take him at this pick. We will probably not take him the next pick either, but we need to be cognizant of it. Njoku's not a bad value here, but I feel like we've fallen behind enough, and there's enough tight ends I like late where I think I want to take 14. Yeah. I want to take Lockett. Lockett goes with Metcalf, and we're going to target Geno, who's also in a different bye week than Stroud. So we're going to go after Geno. We're going to go after Schultz. But we can wait on both of them. I'll probably take Schultz at 126. Geno, I think you can wait until like 150, 163 to get him there. You like Khalil Shakir as a late pick. Do you feel the same? To a degree, as you will probably see very soon, he's going to come off the board. I don't love him, to be honest, in like round 9, 10. It feels kind of like on Underdog, at least, he's being boosted up really just because there's so many targets to go around. And people are like, well, he's got, deep threat ability. He's just on the field with Josh Allen as we his touchdown upside. I don't know. I think he's still kind of like just a role player, not someone that I think is going to have a ton of spiked weeks. So I think Underdog fine. I think in redraft leagues, I'll be a little bit surprised if you're consistently using him in the flex. But I do also know in redraft, he goes a lot later. And that's like the case with a lot of those wide receivers in that range. Excuse me. So if you get into a redraft league and you look at the other players and you're like, I don't think any of these guys are going to really do anything, and you want to take Shakir as like your second to last wide receiver, completely fine going for it. I just think on Underdog, he maybe gets steamed up just a little bit too much to where I'm not in love with it. Didn't make it into yours, but you're at the 6th spot and another as well. Yeah, compare your team to mine. I feel like mine is a very common start. A lot of people like going wide receiver heavy. St. Brown and Ayuk, I kind of drafted at ADP. A little bit of value there for Metcalf, but I like my build, personally. Okay, next pick. We are not taking Schultz. We need to make sure we put someone up there. But I also want to mark off Geno, just so we remember those two. Singletary wouldn't be bad, and he's a different bye week, so we have that option. I really just don't love the wide receiver options right now. Are there any other tight ends? Goddard's not a bad value. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? I think Goddard, next pick, we take Schultz. We're not going to get Singletary, but I think that is okay. I think that was the move. There are late tight ends that I like, but if we think about this season, do I think I'm going to beat teams that have, all these like really strong, high weekly upside tight ends with like Schultz, Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith? I mean, maybe. I think it could happen, but also if I missed out on them, I'm not feeling as amazing at tight end. I think this season, 3 tight end builds might get steamrolled. And so I don't want to wait too long because I also don't have like a ton of confidence in the weekly upside of Schultz when he's got 3 awesome wide receivers on his team. I'm more doing this for like the correlation. I would like someone if CJ Stroud's going to have, 404 touchdowns and win me this whole draft, because obviously we're thinking about weeks 15 through 17 we're drafting here. But I don't know the season-long upside is there. I really think it's a season where, like, if you're getting 5th round, McBride, Kincaid, Andrews, if you're getting Pitts in round 6, Ferguson, Kittle, Laporta going in round 4, that's great value for him. Like, there's a lot of really strong high upside tight ends. For us to think that none of them are going to drop nukes in all 3 weeks of fantasy playoffs is kind of being naive. So we can't wait too long at the tight end position. So I think that was the move. So again, we'll probably take Schultz here. If we end up getting sniped, I wouldn't be against going with Pat, just hoping that he turns into basically their wide receiver 2. But I would definitely prefer getting Schultz. AD has definitely been falling. His ADP has been going down. I think he got up to like 120. Don't quote me on this, but I think he got up to 120, came back down to like 115, going back up to 120 again. But I've seen him fall in like a lot of drafts. He's a pretty strong value. I just think we kind of have to lock up Schultz. Like, we could wait 130. No, he's not going to be there 139. We got to do it. We can't have a completely naked CJ Stroud. And Mitchell goes anyways. All right. So we get the stack. Goddard, Schultz, I feel good about. I can now wait a while. Maybe if honestly, if Pat was there at the next round, I wouldn't be completely against it. But we do need wide receiver. So very good thing we had those 3 to start off with there. How far can I get down? I'll do that for you guys. Okay. Thoughts on Bijan at 102 in a half PPR 2 flex league, historically very running back heavy. We'll likely see 10-ish running backs before it gets to you in round 2. So this is where Know Your League comes in. I would say in a normal league, I would potentially lean away from that, but completely fine. Honestly, like, I think Bijan is a great pick this season. I'm 100% fine in a half PPR league with 2 flex spots if you want to go Bijan at 102, knowing that you're barely losing value not taking like CD and Hill. Like, I think you're losing like a really small amount of value, but in knowing that everyone else is going to take all these running backs, well, now you probably know you're actually going to get better options at that 2-3 turn, than you would be getting on average. And so maybe it does become a situation where Bijan plus those 2 wide receivers is a way better build than starting off, which, like, I would imagine hearing this is the rankings would tell you to go, 3 wide receivers, which is totally fine to do if you kind of, get scared. You want to go with like Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb at 2, and you end up having to go 3 wide receivers to start off with. Since you can start 4, it's still fine to do. But I would say, actually, I would suggest, go Bijan at 102 and take the 2 wide receivers that are probably pretty good at the next pick. You would love a video ranking different draft positions, taking into account the format and the site you're drafting from. So that would be quite a long video. There'd be a lot of combinations there, right? I'd have to go over full PPR on ESPN, half PPR on ESPN, full PPR on Yahoo, on Sleeper, on all these different formats. I can think of something that could work, but that's a lot. Okay. I might go Chase Brown. I know I said I might go Pat, and Pat's an okay value here, but Chase Brown also has been falling a ton recently. Chase Brown or Jalen Polk. Polk could also be a good pick. No, I'm going to go Chase. I'm going to go Chase Brown. He's seen his ADP crater, so that 123.9, whatever it was, 123.8, that I don't think is going to hold. I think someone changed their rankings, and he's trending towards like 130. I should be curious to pull that up. I'll see if he is one of the biggest fallers recently. Let's go to players ADP. All right, I'm going to give it time to pull ADPs. Polk would have been a strong pick there, but I think we can still get strong picks. I basically wanted to give ourselves the 4 running back option. So we do have the option right now of sticking with Pacheco, Jacobs, Zamir White, and Chase Brown. I don't know. It's basically going to come down to, do we get like sweet value somewhere? Like if someone falls, maybe we'll end up doing it. But we'll see. All right, hold on. Let's type in Chase Brown. And I'll let it pull that. And we will see. It's been more recent, so I don't know that it's been like cratering yet, but I think we're going to see a downward trend. We're not taking Geno with this pick, right? We're not taking Geno. We need a wide receiver. I'd be good with Mooney. Honestly, I probably need to move Quentin Johnston down. Yeah, he has been dropping. So it's actually not a crazy drop, but as you can see, since Best Ball Mania opened, he's kind of done this, and this is when I was stranded. Couldn't pull ADPs during the hurricane. But this, it's been like testing limits at the bottom, and now it's been kind of free falling in the last like week or so. I've seen him drop it a lot, but I like him, so I'm gonna scoop him up. I think he's like a great value. But yeah, I think I need to move Quentin Johnston down. I truly have just no faith in Quentin Johnston, so I should move him down. I had him behind ADP, but it looks like now I have him ahead of ADP, which is not something I want to happen. Who's this guy going to auto pick? It's going to be off of his ranking, so it's not going to be off of there. Hopefully it's not Burton. I feel like Burton's a strong pick. Okay, good. Yeah, Burton's a strong pick. A lot of upside there. I get a nice little like Chase Brown, Burton stack going on. If the young guys can kind of break out in this offense. I think next pick, where's our next pick? 163, so we'll take Geno at the next pick. And then we'll think about what we want to do. If we don't do another running back, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks left. One should probably be a tight end. I think this should be a 3 tight end team. I'm thinking we go with 2 quarterbacks, but maybe we don't. Maybe we just go with Stroud and Geno. So that could open up, how many did I say there was? 5? That could open up 3 more wide receiver picks. We have 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'll be 9 wide receivers. A 2, 4, 9, 3 build. I could get along with that. Yeah, I could get on board. So we go Geno. We figure out a tight end, and the rest of our picks are wide receiver unless a running back falls. And it's a good plan. Is this the last draft you're doing? We are going to do a Dynasty rookie draft, because I don't think anyone else has made a pick either. No, there's not been another pick. I have up to hopefully invite you guys into. I'll see if that works. If it doesn't work, we'll just do a normal redraft draft. I think it'll allow me to do a mock draft with our settings, because I want to kind of see how you guys would draft the different teams. It's not going to be perfect because you don't know which team has needs, but it's also a little bit less about team need in those ones. Ayuk rookie news, we kind of open with that, so you could kind of go back in time and then watch it. Like, I always suggest, by the way, if you guys join these streams late, just watch it like 1.25 speed. Like, you don't have to catch up all the way. Go back to the beginning, watch on 1.25. You'll kind of catch up, and if there's points where you're bored, just kind of hit the right arrow and just skip 5-10 seconds. It's a great way to catch up during the live streams. But currently, I'm drafting them exactly where I did, and I did draft Ayuk on this team. Until we know more, I feel like you gotta just keep drafting where they were. Okay. We're hoping Geno. There is a team on the board here. Do they have Seattle players? They have Charbonnet, but that would be a weird pick. And then it'd be a really weird pick for this guy. All right. Nice. Could risk it, but I don't see why we really need to do that. Okay. Stroud, Geno. I feel good about. I'm locking that in. We're not taking another quarterback unless we get sick value somewhere. I would want it to be a stack. So the math does say if you can get a stack that is also at like 2 rounds of value, always take the third quarterback. I would say my rule is if it completes a stack, you're good with your other positions. You don't feel the need to attack them, and you get even slight value at the quarterback position. Do the third quarterback. So I don't think you need significant value if it's a stack. I would not draft a third quarterback if it's not part of a stack. Don't take a naked third quarterback. It just doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to look at my team. it doesn't. Yeah, there'd be no one. So unless I drafted like, if I did like a Wandale Hyatt, then maybe I would go with I can't even think of his name, Daniel Jones. If I went with like Bo Nix, I do that sometimes. I really like Bo Nix. If we draft like Mims, maybe already drafted Sutton. You draft like Sutton, Mims, Bo Nix would be kind of nice. But I don't really have any of that right now, so we're not going to be looking at that spot. I would take Wandale here. I should probably pull up who Houston and Seattle play. Let's pull that up. Seattle plays Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago. That's not really going to help us in the later rounds of wide receiver, but we got the Green Bay, Josh Jacobs there. And then who's my other one? CJ Stroud is going to play Miami, KC, and Baltimore. All right. I mean, we got Baltimore here. I don't know that Miami, we could do Malik. I don't think KC are really going to do anything. All right. I would take Bateman here for just a little bit of correlation. Maybe Bateman hits for long touchdown, forces a little bit more aggressive play calling there. And Bateman also, just a solid pick here. I don't think Bateman really is going to do anything if we're being completely honest with ourselves. Hold on. Let's just see. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. All right, we'll take Bateman. I don't think he's going to be anything, but like Flowers obviously is the next, so we're kind of hoping that Bateman kind of is secure in the outside role, that with Odell being gone, he's just always out there on 80% of plays, and he can have a few spiked weeks because he is an explosive player. They can get on the same page deep. He can stay healthy. That's kind of the narrative for Bateman. When he was getting really steamed up into the mid-60s, it was like, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. He's pushed back into like the mid-15th round, sometimes around 16. That's a perfectly fine spot for someone who you're pretty sure isn't going to do anything, but has weekly upside. And still, like, he was a player that, like, we were very excited about. Like, all prospect models liked him. Film scouts did like him. Like, he hasn't worked out largely because of injury, also because he's just not as good as we thought he was, but he has some upside. He's still a talented player. You love how Buffalo fed Alo. I feel like you messed up there, James Joseph. Is ignoring the whole Ayuk situation like they don't desperately need a wide receiver. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's happening with these teams, right? They've said multiple teams have called in for Brandon Ayuk. They're not going to tell us, right? They're not going to go out there and be like, we really want him. Like, these teams are being secretive. So just because we haven't heard buzz that like Buffalo, let's say, is going after Ayuk, that doesn't mean that they're not actually going to go after him. I think he'd be an exciting team, or that would be an exciting team. I think the Chargers would be exciting, even with the low volume. Listen, he dealt with low volume on the 49ers, and he'd be like just peppered with targets there. It would really hurt. It would hurt. Oh my gosh. The rookie they drafted. Why can't I think of his name right now? Ladd McConkey. It would hurt him to a degree, but I think just being on the same team as Ayuk and then also just being able to be like full-time slot in there, I think it would help him like in the long run, but for like season one fantasy, it would probably hurt him. All right, we're not taking Malik Washington with this pick, by the way. We would take McMillan. Love McMillan. Yeah, I mean, McMillan's like far and away the best pick there. Elijah wouldn't be terrible if you wanted that fifth running back. I just don't think I want to do that. Yeah, I want McMillan with this pick. Take him. That was our, 16th. Okay. So we got 2 picks left. Yeah, tight end wide receiver. I think the team's worked out awesome, and it's also very on-brand plays. Like, I talk about these players all the time. Maybe I don't talk about Zamir as much, maybe Lockett as much, but those are 2 staples of like that general range for me, because like Zamir's touches are locked in. He's getting 1 million carries this season. And then Lockett, I mean, obviously works really well with this specific team. But he's just a, high weekly ceiling player, doesn't really get hurt, gonna be good, doesn't have like insane upside, but we are in a range where there was like a pretty big drop off at wide receiver. Okay. I want to pick our tight end. I mean, yeah, I want Jonnu, Likely, and Woods. And Jawan to a degree, Tucker Kraft. This is also why, like, that right there, I'm 100% fine with any one of them in the final 2 rounds. So if you mess up, basically, here's how it looks to me. You've got awesome tight ends here. Kelsey, Laporta, McBride, Kincaid, Andrews, right? Kittle, Pitts. Drop off. I think Ferguson, Engram are fine. Bowers and Njoku are fine. Goddard, Schultz. Maybe Pat Freiermuth. I think all of these tight ends, it's like they're basically the same pick as the tight ends you would end up getting in like the final 2 rounds, that I would just kind of wait. And if you really need to double dip or take a last one, I would do that instead of drafting that general range. So again, we waited a little bit longer than I would have liked to in this one. But I think after Schultz, it's like, stop, unless you want to do Hunter Henry. That kind of stinks. I don't know. Let's take Jelani. I was trying to decide who I wanted between one of those last tight ends because we just missed out on Likely. I would have greatly preferred Jonnu or Likely. I was trying to decide if I wanted my pick at these tight ends or risk it with Malik. Or honestly, I was thinking, do I just go with like Tyler Boyd? Do I go with Rondale Moore, who, if people are asking about a name that could benefit from the kickoff rules, Rondale Moore could have an extra 1 or 2 touchdowns maybe this season if he can win out the kick return role, and like maybe that is a role that just produces a few more touchdowns this season. Who knows? But yeah, I basically figured if I don't get Malik and I have to end up going with one of like Rondale, Tolbert, Hyatt, or Xavier Gibson, so be it, right? Not too concerned about that. And there's really no ancillary guys that I would want on Seattle or Houston. Like there's just no one that I really want at that spot for wide receivers. Just missed one. Do you like Javonte Williams this season, second year post ACL? If I knew he was going to be like the clear 1A, I'd like him. I'm concerned about the situation because they clearly like Jill McLaughlin. I think they drafted Estime because Peyton sees something in him. I don't think they would have been like, Peyton been like, I don't like this kid. And then they would have been like, let's go draft him. Like, they did that because Peyton sees something. Peyton did not pick Javonte Williams, so not necessarily that he likes him a lot. I just feel like this might be just a gross rotation. And I don't, like, it's a great situation in terms of, like, Sean Payton running backs crush historically. I just don't know that he's going to be the guy. I think people are kind of assuming that's the case, and I don't know that it is. Thoughts on Hawkinson as a late-round pick? Think he can have a strong end of season similar to Nick Chubb? Yeah. I mean, I would do it on a team like I think it's a really smart pick if you draft like a tight end early and you want to just straight up do that early tight end in Hawkinson. Know the early tight end will hopefully just kind of like carry you over the first, like month or 2 of the season. And then Hawkinson, maybe late in the year, can be a guy that can kind of rack up receptions. I don't know that Hawkinson's ever this season going to be someone we consistently rely on for like a high weekly ceiling. Just in terms of like, I don't know that he's going to be super healthy this season, that the offense is going to be humming and we're like, let's go. Hawkinson's back to being like a top 7 tight end. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think at the end of the year, he'll be like a low end tight end 1, high end tight end 2, and that where you drafted him will be a nice discount. And so the thinking is, if you can make playoffs, you would now have, an elite tight end plus a low end tight end 1, and anything can happen. You can have a 2 touchdown game. So I think, yes, I would say more for those of you in like redraft leagues, potentially not as awesome because you'll have to roster 2 tight ends and you never love doing that for as potentially long as it's going to take, because it could take like a month or 2 for him to like, really see the field a lot. So there's the squad. I like it a lot. We went with the 4 running backs: Pacheco, Jacobs, Zamir, Chase Brown. I feel really locked in with Pacheco and Jacobs. I feel really strong about Zamir's just like stable production. And then Chase Brown's kind of our upside pick. Great wide receiver core. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ayuk, Metcalf, Worthy, Lockett, and then some upside shots on Burton, Bateman, McMillan, and Malik Washington. We went with 3 tight ends because we didn't feel amazing having just Goddard and Schultz. And then we got the stacks with Geno and Stroud. So let's hop on over here. I don't know if this is going to let you guys join, but let's see what happens. If you want to try joining into this one, see if you can. I don't know because usually it like says something up here, but hopefully some of you are going to start joining into here. If no one joins in, my assumption is that I cannot actually do this, in which case we will do a quick non-dynasty start, and potentially that is the case. So let me know if if it's not letting you guys join, or let me know if it like says something. I was hoping you guys would be able to join into here, but someone let me know what it kind of says on your end. If it's like view only or something like that. Edit the draft settings. We would definitely do quicker. We do 30 seconds. Oh, okay. Okay, we got someone joining in here. Nice. Good. We're definitely doing 30 seconds, though. We are not waiting 8 hours for you guys to make your picks. Okay. So join in, please, some of you. Even if you don't know a lot about Dynasty, good kind of idea to get a hold on kind of the rookies here. This is my actual spot at 112. Everything here has been drafted, this like 1 through 8 spot. So if you're in a Dynasty start or a Dynasty rookie draft, I'll tweet it out so we can get a few more people to kind of join into here. Let's say. All right. There we go. We'll post that. If we don't get enough people, I'll just hit start. But given that I tweeted it out, I think a few people are going to join into this. Is this a mock? Yes, it's definitely a mock. We're not starting an actual draft here. This is a mock for my current. Oh, you guys actually can see the teams. Huh, that's kind of cool. So these are the teams. It's set up a little bit weird in that, like, if a person traded for it, like, this isn't actually Jack's brand. That's not his actual team here. I don't remember. He's, like, somewhere over here in the draft. But for anyone that is not in these trade situations, that's the actual team below it. So if you feel like doing the draft, nice. All right. Let's start. It's going to start at 9. So the person at 9 is going to be on the clock there. Let's pull this up. So currently this team and this team over here is trying to trade for Jonathan Brooks from one of the 2 teams that are drafting in this spot. We will see if that happens, but I'm envisioning Brooks goes. I'm envisioning Brian Thomas is probably going to go next. So that's how I think things are going to go. We'll see how you guys draft here. I don't know if I'm going to draft Pearsall at 112 if it happens. I probably will. I should probably pull up my actual Dynasty rankings in the corner. Let's see. Dynasty, 1 quarterback. All right, so they go Lad. Do I have rookie? So I do have Keon Coleman over Pearsall right now. Okay. So I would probably end up going Keon Coleman, even though I'm not like the biggest Keon Coleman fan. I feel like getting, a wide receiver that Josh Allen kind of like hand selected, that they're kind of invested in, hoping that the situation stays the same and they don't add any other wide receivers. That's probably the move for me to do. I would definitely prefer Brian Thomas and Ladd though. So I'm hoping it doesn't go Brooks, Brian Thomas, Ladd, because then I feel like I almost want to just ask people to trade back, because I feel like there's kind of a drop off there. All right, let's see if there's any questions here. Need to take AD and get some rookie upside. I got rookie upside later on in the draft. Will we be able to do a 16 or a 20-man PPR mock draft at some point? I mean, we can try it, right? If some of you, if we get into August and a lot of people are in the stream want to do a draft, sure. Yeah, we can do we can try out like a 20-team draft or something like that. Just get a lot of you in here. Be kind of interesting to do. Hoping to see you in the best ball finals this year. That's the hope. I think Eric got, was it 35th or something last year? Or was it the year before? Pretty sure it was last year. Made the finals in 3 leagues. Lost all 3, but that was just bad luck. Yeah, that is tough. When you make it in 3, you really want to win one of them, but it is what it is. All right. How did it go? Lloyd, Benson, Polk. I'm also thinking Polk could go theoretically at one of these pick because it's a hometown league, so everyone's a New England fan, so maybe that'll happen, but I don't know if people reach that far. Pearsall, Corum, Mitchell, Wright, a second McCarthy, which could actually happen if you see the dude has Sam Darnold, Jake Browning, and Justin Fields as only 3 quarterbacks. So yeah, I could definitely see that occurring there. Okay, we're almost up. I would probably not go running back. I don't think Drake May will actually be there at this pick. I think someone will end up taking him because, again, Patriots League. I don't think I'll go quarterback. As you guys can see, I have Dak and Anthony Richardson, and it's a 1-quarterback league. My second pick's going to be so gross. Yikes. All right. That's kind of gross, but I think Malachi is my top projected. Ew. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you win and you get the 112, but I don't know. My gut says people are going to go after quarterback. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I think people go after Nix and Penix. But maybe I am wrong because it's a 1-quarterback league and people don't care that much about it. And tight end's a drop-off, so I'm not expecting that to happen. Running back's also kind of gross. So, yeah, I don't think people are going to go too heavy at running back. All right. So that's the hope. Brooks won't be there at my first pick, but I'd like one of Brian Thomas or Ladd. I'll be very happy if that occurs. I think I just need to decide if I want Coleman or Pearsall. I got to try and predict what's going to happen with Ayuk. What do you guys think? Hold on. I'll make I can do polls, right? Can't I? I don't know how. There it is. Start a poll. Pearsall or Coleman. Start the poll. Vote. Who should I draft at 112 if it does go Brooks, Brian Thomas, and Ladd? You loved your pick 12 running back build video with Gibbs and Saquon. Would you think about the possibility of going Puka, Drake London, Cooper Kupp, DK? I need to think. What is that? Would you think about the possibility of going Puka, Drake London, Cooper Kupp, and DK as the first 4 picks in a draft? I'd need to know the format. Not in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. No. In a multi-flex league, in a full PPR 3 wide receiver league, certainly. I'd need to know the format there. For your drafts, you completely ignored tight end in the last 3 or 4 picks, and it's usually pretty gross. Be like how strong the other positions end up being. Yeah, I mean you're just gonna need to hit. You're gonna need to hit at least on one of them to have a really strong season for spike touchdowns, and then obviously in the fantasy playoffs, you're going to need a 1 or 2 touchdown day, or all of the elite tight ends to be bad. But again, there's so many pretty strong tight ends this season. I have a feeling in each one of the fantasy playoff weeks, someone is going to go off. One of the elite tight ends is going to go off, and you're going to put yourself kind of behind the 8 ball there. Oh, a trade is pending. Wow. Okay. So in this league that we currently have drafting, someone traded the 111 for Trey McBride. So this pick right here, someone moved up to that spot and traded away Trey McBride. I will say the team that has Trey McBride also has, well, you can see here, it is, all right, hold on. We'll have to make our pick in a second. But the team that has Trey McBride has also Laporta. So that's why that trade happened. Would I go running back? Ew, probably not, to be honest. I might just keep loading up. Oh, my God. I'm not going to end up having a good draft in this league, but I would probably just go the upside of Ray Davis. Probably. Maybe Tyron Tracy. Because wide receiver, I mean, Malik would be solid. Who do I actually have in the rankings there? They were all gone. Was Javon Baker gone? He was not gone. Okay, so my rankings say go Baker because we'd always gone, yeah. I do have to think, though. So, again, this is my team on the right. My running backs are Achane, Kyron, Jerome Ford. Okay, I do actually need a running back. So I should make note of that in like this 3rd, 4th round range, that even though they're gross, I do need a running back. It's just like I know Brooks won't get there. They didn't make a pick yet either, right? Let's see. Join the draft. The pick was made. Dingo did take Brooks, although was that the trade pick? Yeah. So the guy traded up to take Jonathan Brooks, gave up. Okay. Interesting. So Brooks did get drafted. So we're looking at these next two. Are we going to see Brian Thomas and Ladd, or are we not going to see that? Oh, what'd you guys vote on? Really? You guys are 50-50? Can someone break the tie? It is 50-50. I don't know who to draft. I need you guys to help me there. What was the next question? Oh, let me actually make my pick here, and then we'll do that. High upside running back. Dylan. Gross. Yeah, I can't rely on the 4th round pick at running back. I feel like that's it. And I guess Blake Watson, if he can make the team. Although, to be fair, I don't trust any of these wide receivers. Devontae Walker is probably the best one left, but I don't have any faith in him. All right. Wide receiver will be gross. Honestly, I would probably do this. I would consider taking Bell with the last pick. Yeah, it'd be a running back, or I'd go with Bell. My tight ends aren't bad, though. Like, I have Dalton Kincaid, Chigakonkwo, and Jelani Woods. I don't know that I really need Jaheim Bell, who I like, but I don't know. I don't know that I really need him. He goes Blake Watson. Yeah, I feel like that would be my pick. I'm not going to lie to you guys. If this ends up being the draft, I don't love it. I don't love how it turned out, because I also just missed out on Burton. I'd like Burton. I don't know. I don't love it. But there it is. There's the potential how the draft is going to go. You guys have 30 votes in, 53% go with Pearsall. I don't know. Just something I'm going to have to think about. I might go with the upside of Pearsall instead of Coleman. Because I feel like my whole thing is I feel like they overdrafted Coleman. And if it ends up being the case, they're just going to be like, oh, let's just go trade for or sign another wide receiver, try and use them as the one. But like Pearsall, I actually think is like good. And I think they think he's good. And if he's going to be the 2 starting like potentially this season, but even next season, I just feel like there's more upside there. I might go with them, but we'll see. All right. That is the end of this one. Folks, we will be back next week. Same time, 6:30. Please use the promo code if you sign up for Underdog. If you want the rankings as well, even if you're not going to do a million best ball drafts this summer, which I think is a great idea. Again, I'm in like 55 slow drafts right now. Even if you're not going to end up doing that, listen, if you want the rankings for free, all my redraft rankings, sign up for Underdog, promo code FFA, Twesley's $10. They're going to add $5 to your account. You'll have 15. You can do 3 slow puppies if you feel like it, and you get the rankings for free. More cost-effective way of doing it than going through the site and paying full price. So back next week. Tomorrow is a video. Must draft wide receivers. Have we done that one yet? I think that one might be tomorrow's video. And then we have that good breakdown of Pacheco, of Jacobs, and of Etienne on Thursday. So catch you guys on stream next week. That's the end of this one.